The Mughal Empire fell apart because of a few key mistakes that changed everything. And I'm here to break it down for you. In today's video, we explore one of the most astonishing tales of world history, how the British East India Company, a trading company, came to rule over India and the Indian subcontinent. The story is filled with power, war, and political intrigue. To kick off, let's go back to 1686, when the East India Company, EIC, declared war on the mighty Mughal Empire under Emperor Aurangzeb. This bold move was a mistake, as the British forces were no match for the Mughals. The company's army was decimated, and its factories were seized, forcing the British to apologize and pay a fine to Aurangzeb. Yet, despite this early humiliation, just 300 years later, this very company dominated India. What made this possible? The rise of the British East India Company was not an overnight success, but a carefully orchestrated plan involving political cunning, military strategy, and economic exploitation. 1. Early formation and trading expansion. The EIC was formed in 1600 as a joint stock company by a group of British merchants who raised a modest £70,000 for trading ventures, initially targeting the lucrative spice markets of Southeast Asia. However, intense competition from the Dutch and Portuguese drove the EIC toward India, a land rich in textiles, spices, and other valuable goods. In 1608, they set up a trading post in Surat, India, despite early struggles to get permission from Mughal authorities like Emperor Jahangir. 2. Diplomacy and fortification. After several setbacks, including competition with the Portuguese, the EIC finally gained favor with the Mughals. In 1615, the Mughal emperor granted the EIC trading rights, thanks to the diplomatic efforts of Sir Thomas Roe, who arrived bearing gifts. This move enabled the company to establish its first Indian factory in Surat, marking the beginning of its steady expansion along India's coasts. 3. Militarization and conflict. By the mid-1600s, the EIC had begun fortifying its trading posts, preparing for military action as well as commerce. The British King Charles II granted the company the rights to raise its private army, mint its own money, and govern its territories. In Bengal, the company pushed for tax-free trading rights, sparking tension with the Nawabs. By the late 17th century, the company's ambitions shifted from merely trading to controlling land and local politics. 4. The turning point, the Battle of Plassey, 1757. The 1757 Battle of Plassey was a major turning point in the company's fortunes. After Siraj-ud-Daulah, the Nawab of Bengal, tried to resist British advances, the EIC, under Robert Clive, formed alliances with discontented local factions like Mir Jafar. Using a combination of bribery and military strength, Clive won a decisive victory, effectively making Bengal a British-controlled territory. The Battle of Plassey marks the beginning of British political dominance in India. 5. Further expansion, subsidiary alliances. Following the Battle of Plassey, the British developed a clever system to extend their control across the subcontinent. They imposed subsidiary alliances, where local rulers were forced to accept British protection in exchange for maintaining British-controlled troops. In reality, these rulers lost their autonomy as the British company steadily annexed their territories when they failed to meet their financial obligations. 6. Company Raj. By the early 19th century, the EIC was not only the dominant power in Bengal, but it spread its influence over much of India through a combination of military force, clever diplomacy, and economic exploitation. The company's rule lasted until the British Crown formally took over governance in 1858 after the Indian Rebellion of 1857. marking the end of the company's direct control, but setting the stage for the British Raj. The East India Company's story is one of immense power and control that went far beyond trading. From the establishment of factories to wielding the power to tax, govern, and wage war, the company used every tool at its disposal to expand its influence. Its journey from a failed military campaign in 1686 to the de facto ruler of India by the late 18th century is a testament to strategic persistence and opportunism.